I just want to take a moment while I'm waiting for Priscilla Zhao to come to the bakery. We have a new episode in the works up here, and I just wanted to make a public announcement. It's okay to be you. Being the best version of yourself just means stepping up, stepping into it, living life on life's terms, picking up some tools along the way, using them to build a foundation for the temple that we walk around in every single day. Pie Talk Podcast is only about positively uplifting anyone that watches, anyone that listens, ourselves even. And that's what we're all about. We are authentically trying every single day to be the best versions of ourselves. And yes, if you haven't figured it out, I'm back in the studio. If you want to find any of my older music, B space AKTIV, the rapper. I'm on Spotify, Apple. There's some old YouTube videos. But most recently, I'm on a new journey, the continuous journey of Pi. And in my pursuit of internal evolution, my artistry has changed as well. So now I am exclusively on positive rap, positive uplifting rap, and I love it. You will hear it in the intro. One of the singles that is coming soon is You Can Be You.
Can be you, and I can be me. I promise you, you don't wanna be me. It's okay to be you. You just gotta believe in yourself, in yourself, in yourself. On me, you can be you, and I can be me. I promise you, you don't wanna be me. It's okay to be you. You just gotta believe in yourself, in yourself, in yourself. On me.
Death is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies inside while still alive. Never surrender.
Who said that?
Welcome to another episode of Pie Talk.
Delish.
What's the quote?
Oh, I guess we'll start there. What was I thinking?
Human moments
I know it
at
happens.
their finest.
Isn't it weird? There you go. We can start with
And
that.
we have for you today, nobody grows old merely by living a number of years. We grow old by deserting our ideals. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul.
Oof. No, thank you.
Ooh.
I like being enthusiastic.
We are quite almost dead center in between Priscilla's life day,
Da-da-da-da.
aka birthday, that just passed, and we honor you.
Thank you very much. I
And
appreciate
mine is around the corner, so we're like right in the middle of both of our birthdays when we record today, and it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I like where we're headed. I'm like, my name is Priscilla Z, as all of you know, and I am 38 years old. Look at that. But really, I feel like I'm 38 years young. And it was really fun investigating my perception of age. So today, who are you, my friend?
I am, as always, B Willis, aka Be Active the Rapper, as you guys seen in the pre-intro intro. So things are going to happen today, as they always happen on Pie Talk.
Yeah.
Keep effing going.
Absolutely. There's also something called the pursuit of internal evolution. And
what a concept.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And when you're pursuing internal evolution, you're doing that no matter what age, no matter what number is on that birthday. And really, you're doing it all day, every day. It's just a part of our existence. And it's fun to do it with some intention. And so what's also an honor is that we get to do this. And when we kind of dive into the concepts of pursuing internal evolution, we benefit every day, all day from it on another level. When you add intentions into what you are processing in life, Exactly. You get more out of just a general life experience than a lot of the other people do when they're just bopping around like robots. We get to really be humans, and it's kind of a fun thing to do. So
Kind of like it's not what happens around you that matters. It's
yeah,
what you pay attention to that happens around you that matters to you.
100%. It's something funny we haven't talked about in a while on episodes because for some reason we just haven't, and that's okay. But the concept of pouring out the tea.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about that in a while, but like that's really what a lot of pursuing internal evolution is. And what's so funny, I just realized real time is we forgot about the tea. We forgot about it because that's where we're at right now in pursuing internal evolution. We're so invested in pie that we don't even like recognize tea anymore, which is kind of funny that like we've made it vanish. We made the tea
don't
go.
pay attention
We
to
don't
it
pay
as much,
attention to it.
and it doesn't have the value that it used to have.
Right.
You hear something and it's going on, and you're like, "Ooh, what is that? Ooh, tea. What happened over there with so and so and so and so?" Now it's like, ugh, tea.
I would much rather enjoy pie. Like actually, in my all day, every day. Like there's all sorts of people that want to share the tea because they think that what I think it actually does is it releases endorphins. I think it's an adrenal rush. I think when people are talking tea, they're like, ooh, boof, bop, beep, because it's something that excites their brain. Or when you hear something that maybe is even traumatic that somebody else is going through, your brain goes, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, like it gets kind of excited because it heard something that's like dramatic. But yeah,
I'm loving it.
I'm loving it. And so now I feel like I actually, like my brain has been worked and there's some new tracks that are happening in my mind to where when somebody is telling me about their pursuit of internal evolution, then I'm like, ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm loving it.
Right. Absolutely. I was like, so today we have some listener questions if we want to start there. And
questions, quotes.
Yeah, some just comments that are coming through from our friends. So this was on the official season 1, episode 9, Signs. And it came from Sarah Tobeck, which, oh girl, she is on the pursuit of internal evolution.
Facts.
And like is accomplishing goals every damn day. Man, I'm astonished. Oh, and another thing that we've focused on, Sarah and I bet she's okay with me sharing this, but recently I was told that I had toxic positivity. That which is like such a funny concept to think about because I'm like, and like I you could call me toxically positive all day if you want to. And so what Sarah noticed is that in her life with her family and stuff, being positive was actually looked at a negative. It wasn't something that was like something that their family did. You just don't be positive. You have all this negative like connection and trauma bonds going on.
Feel good about
right. You're not allowed to feel positive. So Sarah, when anything happens in her life, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be a really small accomplishment. It could be really big. She will send me a message and she'll be like, oh gosh, I have some toxic positivity to share with you. And she'll be like, I have to tell somebody, like, this is so exciting. Like I have something really good happening in my life and I want to share it. And I'm like, it's so fun to have this like running joke about being toxically positive together because
toxic positivity.
So fun to be excited about life. It is fun to be proud of yourself. It is exciting to have praise on the good that's going on in your life. Now, does that mean that there isn't still like a poop sandwich here and there that you have to chew and digest? Sure. Like that stuff happens. Life fucking happens. But it doesn't mean that in like a whole 24-hour span that I might not have, I do have some really positive things that happen. Like it's inevitable with my mind frame. I will be able to find some really positive things in the worst of it. I can do it. I also know that when some of the worst things that are happening in life happen, it's because you're growing. It's because you're learning. And that to me is a positive thing. So accepting that, taking ownership of it is really, really cool. Sarah wrote that Masaru Emoto, so Emoto Masaru, July 22, 1943, October through October 17th, 2014, was a Japanese businessman, author, and it says prestigious scientist who claimed that human consciousness could affect the molecular structure of water. His 2004 book, The Hidden Message in Water, was a New York Times bestseller. His ideas had evolved over the years, and his early work revolved around this prestigious scientific, I got to look up that word and sound it out later on with Google, hypothesis that water could react to positive thoughts and words, and that polluted water could be cleaned through prayer and positive visualization. Love this reminder. Thanks, No Chill Jill. I used to have a better routine of water being the first thing I go to in the morning. Sunshine.
I just started
doing it.
Well, restarted. Water used to be my go-to, but it used to be in a bottle on the side of my bed on a nightstand. Now it's a glass jug full of great water that's not coming from a plastic place.
And thoughts and intentions too, I think, probably, for sure. I'm excited to plan my morning routine. You guys truly are bringing up amazing confirmation. Heart, I appreciate it, which I love. Then another one that we have right now is from Star Gosshorn. It says on episode 13 of the official season, Stages of Cages, What Doesn't Break You. I'm loving this. Pie Talk is now my go-to after work reset. Every day after work, I be jogging the neighborhood with my dog, just smiling, serving up pie to everyone.
Shout out Star.
Especially.
That's the president to pursue it if you want.
Oh, how funny. Yes, that is. I love Star. Star's energy is the best.
Oh, yeah.
She's
definitely on her pie journey.
She's a shooting star. She actually is. Ooh. Like, she goes high with her expectations and her glory. She shines bright. She said that she also was serving this to herself. Self-care equals self-love. I know we're going on listener comments, but that just inspired something that I recently have been contemplating. In my life, when I have struggle, pain, or hardship, from what I believe is others gifting me their tea, their struggle, their pain, and their hardship problems, it is actually because I am treating myself like poop. And because of the law of attraction, I do believe that whenever I am not focused on self-care and self-love, I end up attracting a lot of negative behavior from all of the people that I interact with. Now, when I flip it and reverse it, and I end up setting myself up every day with a little bit of self-love, and it doesn't even have to be that much. It could just be the water starter. It could just be like a tiny little factor.
Someone told me a long time ago, when you drink water in the morning, to visualize yourself as a plant. And as you're drinking, to visualize the water going down to all the parts of your body until it hits your feet and roots you and grounds you.
Yeah.
And that, I can tell you from experience that I've woken up and just down 8 ounces or 12 ounces of water, and it was like the equivalent to drinking a shot of coffee. It was like it
revitalized
and woke me up.
Yep, absolutely. And so just that like one little portion of self-love can then, I think, set you from a vibration, because, I mean, water is energy. There's vibrations being put into the water. That water is going into your body and vibrating. And then I think when you go out in the world and you start interacting with people, you're emitting this vibration, which is then attracting similar vibrations. And then you end up getting treated a lot better in a lot of different ways. And it could also be your perception of things, which is another thing to contemplate. But I just think this self-love, self-care thing, it's not just go out and get a massage. Like, it's not like this like big thing that you have to pre-schedule to happen. It's like there's so many different versions of self-love that you can put into your all day, every day. And actually, that's something I'd love to hear from all of you guys. Is there something that you do that's like out of the norm, like of the stereotypical things we always talk about when it's like self-love, that you do for yourself? And
I like word finds.
Ooh,
if I come across a book and it has some word finds, I can sit down and do like 2 pages of a word find, and that's self-care.
I love it.
That's like,
and that's
just
not something that you
no,
like
it's
hear
not.
on mainstream, but that to you is really valuable.
Yeah, real simple, and it's great. It's
I
a
dig
mind
it.
kind of washing, and just it's one of those things, and we'll get into it with your topic. Talk about that too. That has to do with what we're going to talk about today.
I dig. So we're gonna go and we're gonna keep effing going right now.
Keep effing going, Joshua Smith.
And Jordan Davis. Like, again, this book is out there on Amazon for purchase. It's a really cool thing because it not only promotes some people that have really put their heart out there for others, and then it helps you yourself with your daily work and affirmations, but it helps a nonprofit as well. So let's jump on in.
I think we are day 13, maybe.
I do believe.
I do believe.
Let's get to
Okay,
it.
okay.
I don't know what we're reading, so I'm excited.
I bet you won't.
Ha!
Then again, knowing you will most likely assess the challenge, set goals, and then strategize an innovative approach to positive outcomes that no one would ever see coming. We see you.
We see you, and we are what we agree to, which is something that B actually taught me. And I love this. I bet you won't. I bet you I will. And I bet you don't know what's coming. So I think it's really fun to take anything in your life and try to navigate it with an authentic intention.
Mm-hmm.
Because are you everybody? No, you're not. Your whole body is made up of cells that are different and unique. You are your own individual. So why would you then take any problem that comes up across your table, or any even new movement of piece of growth that you want to perpetuate, and navigate it like everybody else, or like everybody else told you to navigate it? And I just think right now I'm having a good old time with this one, because it doesn't matter what happens in my day. I think, man, how can I do this? Like, I truly want to do this for me and my own experience in this flesh sack this one time. Because I only have one round in this flesh suit. That's all I got. And it's not like this like sad thing. It's a beautiful thing. I want to have a lot of fun as Priscilla. Priscilla Z is super cool to me. And it's fun to see how she likes to do things, and to actually have conversations with myself about what I agree to.
Which is, I really like this concept, because lately also there's been a few people that have hit me up about stepping into the peer field. Some people that are in the reentry space, and they're like, well, who's going to hire me? Like, I got a background, and, you know, I'm just like, bro. Let me share you a little story about B, right? So all the things that people are coming out of incarceration thinking they can't do, I bet you can.
I bet you can.
I bet you will, if you wanna.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And yeah, it's proof. I'm proof.
Absolutely. I think
it can be done. Like, a lot of things you think cannot be done, that you are not allowed.
Right.
That's not the narrative that belongs to you. That's somebody else's narrative. Though that's the narrative of the naysayers, who don't want you to succeed, who don't want you to step into that next big thing, that apparently they're unwilling to face those barriers. So they put the same narrative on you, telling you that you can't because they won't.
Yeah.
Not because they can't, because they won't. They will perpetuate the same energy to somebody else. They think they're giving good advice. Hey, you should get this job, or you should try this, because if you try that, you're just going to get told no a bunch of times.
Yeah. I'm like, so what I just got this like cool little visual learning concept. Good old real time pie talk here. But like, so there have been people in my life that have thought particular things about me, right? And then here's my perception, and I don't agree with what they think about me. And then I now want to shape what it is about me that looks different. Well, in order for them to ever see what I believe, I've got to show them what I got. And then when I am a visual representation of the things that I believe, and I make that action plan that sets me forward into what I know I deserve and what I create for myself, that person, the eyes are blind if the mind can't see. They might have never been able to see that perception. So there's certain people that like the concept of being incarcerated. Like they believe, they truly, in their hearts of hearts, even if they're not trying to be evil, believe that people that are incarcerated are worthless, are criminals for life, are damaged, are blah, 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 blah. Well, like, now, if we look at that concept, right, B is a physical representation of the opposition. He has physically shown that he is worthwhile, that he's not a criminal, that he is a compassionate, kind human being who doesn't represent all the stigmatized concepts that come from being incarcerated. He's now created his own narrative, and he is a literal visual representation because he sits at one of the best nonprofits in our town.
One of, I mean, in 2023,
it was
they won.
They won. And so here he is actually showing then people what that physically looks like. So now that same person over here that was the naysayer that thought that that wasn't possible, their eyes and their mind are going to get physically altered from the example that B is setting. And like, that's a power move, man. And it was all in ownership of your own self-reliance of how you were going to navigate your own narrative. It's cool, dude.
It's cool.
It's
dude.
So cool.
No, it's awesome. It's great. It's a good life.
Check out that book, practice the daily reflections, and tell us what you guys think.
Get your own copy. It's worth the read.
Yeah, absolutely.
Challenge cards.
Dun, 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 dun.
Jinx. No. I just shuffled mine. You've probably seen it if you're watching, but if you're listening, you didn't see it because you're just listening. So, better than yesterday. Nada. Absolutely nada. That's what the card says. Better than yesterday, 124. Turn the lights down in your home. Light a candle. Sit down. And do a self-guided meditation. Hit a spiritual reset by doing nothing. Just sit, hear, and feel your senses.
I love this. So I'll be rigorously honest here. I was having, this was after my mom passed away, and there was talk of her perhaps being the one that took her own life. And I didn't know how to sit with this stuff. And I was having kind of a manic episode, and I was having a panic attack. And I did not know how to really calm down my brain because the things that I was learning were just extraordinarily traumatizing. And I called a mental health hotline. And I was by myself, and I just didn't know really what to do. And they worked me through a meditation that was simply identifying my 5 senses. And I had never done that before. I had never done all 5. I had worked through other sense evaluations, but I'd never thought, like, what am I tasting in my mouth right now? And like, when you're in a headspace that's really unhealthy and is like a manic mindset, think about what that does when you're like, what do I taste in my mouth? And like, you could be like your breath. I mean, that's a pretty simple thing. But like, I have chai tea in here. So like, I am tasting chai tea, but like, I'm tasting cardamom. I'm tasting clove. I'm tasting cinnamon. You know, I'm tasting there. I have oat milk creamer in there. I'm tasting the oat. I can actually see the oat being ground up and being turned into that oat creamer. And like, even just talking about this little tiny thing, I now am thinking about so many other things than what I was just thinking about a whole 5 seconds ago.
Segues right into a shout out that I was gonna make that you just reminded me of.
Perfect.
Is so my supervisor, Bree, stumbled upon something very interesting about sinus infections.
Oh.
Right. And due to a certain sinus infection, it caused her to smell septic, like poop.
Oh.
For no reason.
Bumski.
And she was the only person in her house that could smell it. And then she got to talking to her provider and everything, and found out that when you have certain sinus infections, it can literally cause you to smell a specific thing
Differently.
and only that thing.
Right.
So for like a day and a half or something, all she could smell was poop.
I have to say, this is a bad joke, but that sounds pretty shitty.
It does. No, but it was just interesting. I love coming across like
That's super
random
cool.
pieces of interesting information, because there's something that COVID does too that's
Yes,
similar,
absolutely.
and it changes the way that you smell and taste things, but it
So-
wasn't that.
Yeah, so identifying the senses seems to be a really cool thing to just do in general. So what a cool meditation, but also something that you could probably practically apply into your life often to just
Yeah.
kind of touch base and check in with yourself, go back to those 5 senses.
I've often started support groups. I think you're at one of them.
I've been to a few.
Where we've done all the senses in
Yeah.
a grounding exercise.
And it's
to
the
kinda
best.
start.
There's
It
another
is.
thing too, which is what they say, the 6th sense.
Mm.
And that's another thing I think we all tap into lately with pursuing internal
I mean,
evolution.
that could be a whole episode. There's like
Yeah.
15 senses now.
There's a
apparently.
lot more going on. So just start with the 5 and then we can keep going up. I'm not going to shuffle my cards. I'm just going to pick up the top one. And I think it's kind of funny because of my birthday. It says time's up, which I think is something people think when they are celebrating their life. They think time is up, but I don't agree. Better than yesterday, 82. Set a screen time limit on your phone and stick to it for 24 hours. Technology is great, but every now and then we all need a break from being connected, which is so funny because this is a side note. I have a tiny person outside of this room. She's 4.5 years old. Sometimes, in order to get her to be occupied for the hour episode that we have going on, she has an iPad. Her iPad, she plays different things on, different musics and different games and videos, and she kind of has to utilize that to occupy her rapid 4.5-year-old mind for an hour of being alone in the room next to us. And girl does a phenomenal job.
FYI, 90% of these episodes are recorded with a 4-year-old
right over
outside
there.
the door that could essentially be knocking and asking a bunch of questions.
Oh, man. And she's smart, too.
She's
So she's
phenomenal.
got all sorts of concepts in her brain that I'm sure she would like to chat about. But, man, does she have some awesome self-restraint and respect for my time right now, which is brilliant. But today, card, she forgot her iPad. And so right now she's actually outside of this room without that technological, occupier.
No iPad Mrs. Doubtfire for her today.
Right. And she's totally occupying her time. And she's actually, I think, more quiet today than in other days in the past. So that's an interesting perspective. Maybe identify when you put a time limit on your phone. What do you do in the time and space when the iPhone or the devices are off? What happens to your brain and your mind when we shut down the technology for however amount of time you decide to shut it down? I dig this card.
Yeah, I dig it too.
Ooh, so cool. So today, the topic of the show, /
2 topics.
kind of.
We are going to be talking about aging youthfully.
Yeah, I think so.
At the same time as growing into our own puppet masters, which is a concept I'll explain.
I dig. So this concept was something that I brought up because I was in sincere reflection on my birthday. So on my birthday, I will be very real with you. The Priscilla Me show is a really great one. I can have, on my birthday especially, be celebrated in the most extraordinary ways, extravagant ways. I have a lot of people in my life that love me. Usually that day is full of love. My parents had a tradition in my birthday that was really epic, and they did it for all of their kids. But every single birthday that you had, your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and your dessert was everything that you wanted that day. And then eventually when we became adults, my father had passed away and it was just my mother there in the home. And she, even when siblings, this is my favorite, even when siblings had conflict, so like if B is my brother and I am his sister and we have conflict, and tonight I'm having, like, I would get schnitzel and spätzle, and my mom would make gluten-free schnitzel, which I don't know if you know what a challenge that is, but that's a really loving, hardcore, beautiful challenge. And
I don't know what a challenge that is.
she would also, schnitzels made out of pork, and she would make it out of chicken because I like chicken more than pork. So she would make chicken schnitzel that was gluten-free. Like, lady loved me, okay? Now, she would also then make traditional schnitzel alongside of it because not everybody else liked that. And then on my birthday, even though I've had conflict with my siblings, she would customize to-go bags for the siblings that weren't even getting along. And on your birthday, she would bring your sibling your birthday dinner too, which was amazing. So like, it's beautiful. She was honoring family and connection and celebration of life. And that day to her was really valuable because that day was the day that her baby was born. That day was the day that she got another best friend on earth. And so this year, both my parents are gone. It was my first birthday without both of my parents. And I learned something actually that day. And it was really interesting because it was just like a silly little thing that came up on my TikTok. But we have a perception of we lose our parents. Just like with our birthdays, we're losing life. But really, that's not the case. I gained my parents in a new way. And on my birthday today, even though 1 year passed, I gained more life and experience. I got cooler. I got better. And so instead of thinking that the day was going to be sad or I was going to be without, I thought about how much I have. And I just took the day as it is what it is, no matter how it is. And I didn't make plans and I didn't expect. And because I didn't put expectations and I didn't put plans on anything in this like ego-driven manifestation way, I manifested the perfect day that was actually really spiritually incredible. And so my parents interacted with me all day long in the coolest ways ever. I saw signs everywhere, signs. I got love from people that I didn't expect that version of love from. It was extraordinary. My whole day was overfilled. And what I recognized in myself was that as I aged, I have intellectually always been very mature. I emotionally have been very immature in my life. And spiritually, I've been on the fence. I've been very mature and I've been very immature when it came to those things. But now this year on my 38th birthday, I can solidly say that I felt extremely emotionally mature and I felt very spiritually mature and I did not feel old while I was doing it. I felt super young. I went even to Victoria's Secret and bought underwear like I would have when I was like 14 years old. I like treated myself to like the cutesy tootsy fun things. I had treats and all sorts of fun everywhere I went. I had cupcakes that are gluten-free. Shout out to freaking Miss Moffat's Mystical Cupcakes. They won a show on TV once, but everything in their building is gluten-free and it doesn't taste like cardboard. It tastes delicious. And so they're out in Lacey, but I had
were they the ones in the mall at one point?
Yes, they were. They were in the mall. Now they're out.
I tasted them. They're delicious.
They're delicious, and they're not like lacking anything because
and I did it accidentally without knowing they were gluten-free.
That's the best. So, like, what's wild is my whole day was full of like electrifying, wonderful treats, and I felt super young and youthful. I was excited to be present in my experience, but at the same time, I realized how mature I was on this day.
So if there's something that you don't know, so viewers know, prior to Priscilla showing up, I did like a little minute and a half intro, right? And one of the things I talked about in that intro This is, again, the universe in real time,
How
and you guys are seeing it.
cool.
I talked about the pursuit of internal evolution having to do with living life on life's terms. And that is what you
Oh,
just
I
described
did
in
it.
beautiful detail.
It was
Living
great.
life on life's terms and not being caught up in the narratives and
The
the
things.
pressures and the things, and just like you said, accepting it as it was.
Yes, Zyla, she wanted to go to Chipotle for my lunch. And I was like, I could have had any lunch in the world. We eat Chipotle all the time. And she was like, hey, but can we stay there? Can we eat at Chipotle?
That's different.
And I was like, yeah, dude, we can. And like, there we were. And she's like, oh, you love your guacamole. I was like, I do, girl. I love my guacamole. And the whole time, I had the best, and I'm getting like misty eyed over fucking Chipotle guacamole right now. But I had the best birthday lunch with my 4.5-year-old ever.
Hey,
And it was so not what you would like plan and organize and do and blah, blah, blah. It wasn't all of those things. It was just life on life's beautiful terms. It was perfect. It was the best thing ever, man.
and that's one way to stay young.
It
Right.
is because you're not stressing. You're not stressing at all. And so, like, this other concept of like aging and like doing it in a youthful manner is about, I believe, feeling grounded.
Yeah.
You know, there's something that happens when you get grounded in yourself and when you get grounded in your experience that's really beautiful. It's a remarkable joy. And so, like, spiritually, right now, I'm really spiritually grounded. I feel very spiritually mature because I'm not trying to like put in a Costco order to God. I'm not like, hey, universe, hey, God, I expect these items at this moment and this time, and I need them to be on sale. Okay. I need them for half the price. Right now, I'm like, kind of in a way being like, God, I love my life so much. I honor my experience here on earth. Like, I know I have it good. And I'm setting up that sense of affirmations of like knowing that no matter what happens in my life, I have the best experience like humanly possible. And I'm kind of like, show me what you got, man. Show me what you got. Like,
Challenge accepted.
yeah, challenge accepted.
That
And
is
like,
the attitude of gratitude, which we often define on this show and in my personal life as a superpower. The attitude of gratitude
is.
will give you so much more than you're actually even grateful for. Just having that attitude as part of your everyday
It's beautiful.
embodiment, just embody that. Be grateful for whatever it is you have, whatever it is you're going through. If you have challenges, be grateful for the process
Just be okay
of
with it.
navigating that challenge in a way that you can be like, challenge accepted. Okay, boom, 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 boom.
Which goes
handle it,
into
handle
exactly what Keep Effing Going was saying too, which is hilarious. but like, it's just like you just get to experience life in a, I believe, a more youthful manner. So like Zai right now, she doesn't know what we're having for lunch. She doesn't. Now, even though in my head, being an adult, I might be like, okay, well, we've got to get here. And then after that, we've got to get here and we've got to do this. And then maybe we'll stop here for this lunch, or maybe we'll go home and have lunch there because we want to stay on a budget. And Zyla has no idea in her youthful wonder what's for lunch today. And when lunch comes across her plate, she's going to be like, oh, I love that. And she'll even be like, and I don't love that. And she'll set that aside. Like, but she's going to experience life on life's terms in this really youthful, beautiful, grounded manner. And I am a testament to it. I just did it on my birthday. You could do it any day, but you don't have to age and get into this like sense of sadness or stress. You get to actually go back to the youthful form, that sweet baby nature, and you can experience life as youthful as you want to, while really truly being okay with whatever comes around your plate. Accepting life on life's terms, I think, might be a key to youthful nature.
Oh, absolutely. And just doing things for the sake of doing them, I have a 6-year-old who just threw the frisbee around for an hour and a half.
I love that.
And he's getting better and better and he enjoys it. He catches 1 in 20 throws. But when he does, it's like, oh my, it's such a celebration, right? And another thing I've done with my kids is we randomly pull off and just go get on some swings. I've also done that with my wife.
I love that.
Just go swing, go have some fun, because by whose authority are you not allowed
Right.
to be fun, to live in a childlike state, even for a moment, just to capture what it was to be what you already have been before. You do not have to outgrow your fun nature. You do
No.
not have to be all mature and straight faced and stoic, and just everything doesn't have to be so stressful and so, where you're walking around reactive and wound really tight,
Yeah.
and it leads into the other topic, which is a visual, me and my
I love
visuals.
them.
And when we talk about one of the things that we go back and forth with because of our certification in anger management, so it's about stress management, right?
Yeah.
Emotional regulation. So imagine that we are all puppets.
Okay.
And as these puppets, not the hand puppets,
I love this.
but the puppets with the strings.
Marionettes.
The puppets that have all the different strings, and every string is attached to a different part of you, right? So think of those strings as your emotions.
Oh.
If those strings are your emotions and those strings are attached to a limb,
God, you're like a philosophical wonder.
those things are liable to be controlled by anybody,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So if you're a puppet and you're walking around and all of your strings, the least amount of emotional regulation you have, the longer your strings will be. And they will drag behind you for anybody to come up and pluck one.
Ooh.
And when they do, you have a reaction.
Ooh, I love this.
They pluck this one, you have a reaction. Right? So the
great.
goal of pursuing an internal evolution is to shorten those strings.
Yeah.
Or if you're a person of big emotions, wrap those strings around you and keep them close to the chest so that you have the ability to be your own puppet master. Otherwise, you are a puppet and anybody can come along, and for any amount of time they choose, if you are a reactive person,
yes.
if you are a person who takes things personally, as we, is one of the 4 agreements not to do, right?
Yeah.
Then anyone at any time can come along and pluck a string and cause you an amount of damage that you have to later look in the mirror and think, I did that to myself.
Yes.
It was your hand that went up. It was your leg that went up. It was your inability to regulate those strings. Those strings are your emotions. Rein them in and start imagining yourself in that way. Use that visual, if you will. Now, if those strings are pulled tight, or if you become a guru of self-mastery and you can cut those strings all together so that only you have control over yourself. That is what pursuing internal evolution is all about, becoming the best version of yourself, becoming your very own puppet master, instead of allowing all these amateur puppeteers to come along at any given time and pluck a string and make you do something that you will later regret. That's just a visual.
I am like, I'm geeking over this right now because it goes with my morning and something I read and
Bring it.
And like, even right now though, this is the wild thing. Is
and I didn't tell you anything.
He didn't tell me anything about this, so I'm like extra right now. But like, this concept is so cool, and it's such a great. I love puppets. Secret side note. I love puppeting.
Jeff Dunham is one of my favorite. Not the same kind of.
I am a puppeteer. I am an actual puppeteer. It is the coolest thing in the freaking world to do when you're doing puppets with kids, and especially people with special needs, which is something I love the most. Is that you can have a puppet right here, and people will look at you, and they do not give a rat's cheek about you. They don't care at all about they really get into the puppet, even though you are still a part of the puppet. It is the most magical, neat dance ever. It is a really cool tool to connect with kids that might be on a spectrum. It is a really cool way to get messages across to people that are not willing to listen. It is a really neat tool. Puppets are rad. So not just that, I feel like such a geek right now, side note, but this concept. So B just talked about this. His visual led into my visual. So here you got the marionette that's up here, right? He talked about the strings. The strings are long. If you let the strings go out this way, other people can pluck the strings. You're letting other people maybe control your narrative, right? So now you tighten up, you get, let's say, spiritually fit, you get emotionally mature, you get mature in your spirituality, right? You're tightening the strings up, just like you tighten your face with Botox. You're tightening up, you're getting more youthful in a sense. And then who is up here, or what is up here at the marionette part, the part of the wood, who's conducting that, right? The universe. The universe will support you. The universe will support your tight and aligned, your alignment with a higher connection, which is all of us. All of our energy is up here. And you will get boop, 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 booped all the way to whatever it is that you need. And the experiences that you gain are going to be glorious and good. And so even for like my birthday, I feel like I tightened my strings up. There were no strings out there for anybody to pluck or tie in a knot, or there was nothing that anyone could do to me because my strings were tight with the universe. And it was so that everything, even the chipotle guacamole, was like in the right alignment with my higher experience and my higher power.
What you guys are witnessing is the synchronicity of
It's so
building
cool.
upon a
That's the
visual,
universe.
building upon a philosophy, an analogy. Puppets and parables, like these are the best ways, even when you're talking in biblical terms of Jesus, the way he taught his people was through parables, which are stories designed to teach a valuable lesson in spirituality or emotional regulation, which is what we're talking about, right? How do you grow and still maintain your youth? How do you grow and gain instead of losing?
Right.
It's a perspective. It's a switch. It's how you think about things.
100%.
If you think about yourself as a puppet with loose strings, and these long strings or short strings are your emotions, which cause you to then do things that you wouldn't normally do. But if you had control of them, or as Priscilla pointed out, if you got them tight and away from where people can have access to them, and in alignment with, also could be like in alignment with your chakras and another spiritual belief system. If you are up here and your strings go directly up, and at the very top of those strings is your spiritual deity, your God, your religious beliefs, your moral values, and then those are in turn coming back down and controlling the way that you operate. So now the filter, the strings, the puppet master is love and compassion and resilience and beauty. Those are now at the helm of your emotional strings. Your emotions filter through your thoughts, and then you do actions, right?
Yes.
All of those things can be managed if you are just dealing with life on life terms through a filter of the attitude of gratitude, through a filter of acceptance, curiosity, fostering connection. Being the best version of yourself means, like one of the agreements, always do your best, right? Whatever your best looks like,
it's always
in
changing.
That day. It always changes. Exactly. I might lift 280 pounds one day, and then the next week feel really strong and hit that 350. And then 2 weeks later, it just might be one of those days where I can't. But if the day of each of those moments is my best for that day, then I have worked an optimal level of being and existing. And then I can look in the mirror and it will still maintain that magic. It'll always show the best version of myself because I know I'm doing my best in any given moment.
Yes.
I'm not falling short of anything because I'm not letting anybody's narrative decide what my best should look like. It's funny that this shirt was the one I picked today.
Oh, yeah.
Want to read it?
Yes. It says, of course your opinion matters, just not to me.
And that's in terms of negativity.
Yes, 100%. So I like all of this is like mind blowing me right now. But I had an experience with Zyla where she helped me tighten up a string. So, and it was really cool. So my birthday is kind of really interesting, but I was born in between the strokes of midnight on the 25th and the 26th. So I was like coming out on the 25th, and then I was like all the way out on the 26th. And so the doctors and everybody talked about it, and my mom and dad decided that they would make my birthday the 25th because my dad's was the 29th, and they wanted time to get over the party in between the birthdays. So that's what they decided. But on my birthday, technically, whichever day it is, so the 25th, we assume, I got my birth certificate, which was kind of a really weird thing. And I'd never seen this particular document. It was the one that was like signed by the doctors at Hershey Hospital where I was born. And it said 11:59 p.m. So they decided to give me right on the dime the minute before the day is my birth time, which was kind of interesting. So I was talking to myself, I got to get B to do some chart work for me. That's another day. But what ended up happening with all of this confusion about my 2 birthdays is like, we make this big joke that my birthday like was the whole month, or it was like the whole week. Like it was always my birthday. It was always Priscilla's birthday. Priscilla's gonna be milking her birthday for forever. So on Sunday, the 24th, I had another birthday. I had a lot of birthdays. Okay. So on that birthday, I spent it with my family. I spent it with my daughter and her dad, and we went for a walk around the lake, around Capitol Lake, and we were just enjoying the environment, enjoying the air, the smells, all of those things. And even though I was being all, ooh, Priscilla guru, Priscilla in her joys, Priscilla's grounded, Zyla was walking instead of riding her bike, which we were on a bike ride. So I'm already like, okay, now I have to push the bike. Okay, it's fine, whatever. So I'm pushing the bike, and then she goes off into a field of daisies. There's some daisies and there's some weeds there too. They're not called weeds really, they're called dandelions. So there's daisies and there's dandelions. And she's sitting over there, and I'm like, got the bike and I got the helmet and all this stuff, and we've already been already around most of the lake, so I'm kind of getting tired or whatever, and we all need to eat food, so that's rearing its head too. And I'm like, hey, and I'm still being positive, so I'm like, hey Zai, come on, let's go, hey, let's wrap it up, okay, come on, okay, yep, all right, yeah, okay, I know, okay, one more flower, that's fine, okay, perfect, okay, okay, all right, are you done? Okay, thank you. Come on, Zai, let's go. Okay, I'm going to walk. I'm going to start walking, okay? And then she's like, okay, Mom, I'm coming. And she grabbed her flowers, and they were in the most perfect bouquet. They were balanced. There were 2 daisies on each side, and then there were 4 of the dandelions paired up on each side, and it was the perfect bouquet. It was more perfect than I think any 4-year-old could make. And she said, hey, Mama, these are for you. Oof. So in that moment, I'm not kidding you, I felt that string go whomp, and it got tight and it got right. I need to chill out. I need to not try to control moments like that. I'm not on a schedule, actually. I'm on an experience. And like if I would have tried to rush that experience like I was attempting to, I'm glad.
Imagine the damage?
Could you imagine the damage? And then also, not just that, but I wouldn't have experienced the joy of getting that beautiful bouquet from my little girl. And I took a picture of the bouquet as she was speeding off on her bike, and she's a blur in the bike going by. And I just have it centered on that little bouquet. And that right there is what I'm experiencing in life right now.
Nice.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to do. And it made me feel youthful. It made me honor my birthday the next day.
As it should have.
It was accepting life on life's terms and letting it teach you and letting it tighten your strings and being okay with it. My string was a little loosey-goosey there for a minute. And then I immediately took the learning, took the example, and went whoop. And then it benefited me more and more and more throughout the next few days. So it's a cool thing.
You allowed the experience to give you a better reaction.
Yes.
And so before we get into our next segment, the magic bucket list, I want to leave you with something that I actually introduced to the parenting class this week.
Cool.
And this is right along topic, right? Take a moment, and this is for parents especially. If you're a parent, you have a child, no matter the age. Imagine that you are somehow magically or scientifically you're swapped. And now you are inside of your child's experience, but you have your mind, but you're able to see and experience everything the way that your child sees and experiences. Take a moment, and this was hard. Even in the participants in my class said, "Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good homework," because you're gonna have to find a moment to really sit and watch this movie through your child's eyes and mind. And it's really going to be really hard to be objective. So take some time.
I love that.
If you accept this challenge, you don't have to, obviously.
Triple dog
And
area.
try to just, if you have multiple kids, pick one or do all 2 or 3 or whatever, and just really try to see the world the way your child sees it, including looking at yourself through that lens.
I was just thinking, it sounds like it's a therapy session in a lot of ways, because when I look at my little girl, I see her and I have to acknowledge that, like, her cellular level is part of her father's experience. It's part of my experience, all of our ancestors leading up to this time where she was here and created, and now here she is on earth. So like when we see our kid, I could be like, oh, that reminds me of your dad, that reminds me of your mom, that reminds me of your grandma. There's all different kinds of things that occur. But the truth of the matter is that Zyla is Zyla is Zyla. And she has her own makeup. She's got her own astrology. She's got her own birthday. She's got her own everything. And I see her and I watch her. And then I go, wait a minute. Oh, I can see myself right now. I could see how I would have felt in that moment. But then I have to go, wait a minute. That's how you felt in that moment. And it's okay that you felt that way. Yeah. But now watch Zyla. Zyla might be handling it in a very different way. And then I touch that little person inside of me for a second and I give her some acknowledgement. And then I start to really acknowledge the little person right in front of me. And I start to give her the tools that I've gained throughout my life in whichever way I can to help her navigate her own experience.
Exactly. All right.
I just wanna catch you a dream or two, bring it to reality from me to you, cause they don't understand what belief can do, but I'm the kind of man to make a dream come true.
What's in your bucket list?
And I will grab one of these magical bucket list moments as we are growing in our youth. Right. These are some ideas to engage in. Okay, well, the one I grabbed says bungee jumping. If you're an adrenaline junkie, maybe this will be something that you would add to your magical bucket list of adventures before you kick the bucket.
I love that. I feel like I really want to skydive, which is similar. But I think that bungee jumping is cool because, man, that's a trust fall. That's a wild thing, especially if you're going over like water. Water equals cement when you come down at it at high velocity. So
I definitely think bucket list when I think of jumping out of a perfectly working plane.
Yeah. Right? Wild times. Mine's hilarious. It's so the universe. It says record and write a song. And so I have to be honest, but B hit the studio this weekend, and then when he recorded a song, I got like a little, I don't want to say jealous because I don't like that word, but I thought, man, I think I really want to do that too. And I think I haven't done that for a lot of goofy real reasons, and I need to do that. So I am going to take this as an opportunity to accept this as a challenge, and I think I'm going to record and write a song.
That's, again, there's a universe, because also in my intro that she wasn't here for, I talk about that single, Up and Coming.
Oh, it was so good.
You Can Be You. I also recorded 3 songs. Well, I did a verse for a feature for somebody and then 2 songs this weekend, and it was great. It's been a while since I've been back in the studio. So that segues right into our 4 agreement cards. We are nearing the end of our episode. Always do your best.
Mm.
Surrender and let go of the past. Whatever life takes away from you, let it go. When you surrender and let go of the past, you allow yourself to be fully alive in the moment. Letting go. What the hell? Letting go of the past means that you can enjoy the dream that is happening right now. I'm done with these cards, man.
I
over
love it. It's the best. The universe is on one. That's what I always say. The universe is on one. Don't make assumptions. Be aware of unconscious assumptions. Assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel.
Interesting. These cards, man.
Show them what you got, guys.
These cards. We just had an empathy exercise I talked about. Yeah. Be impeccable with your word. Seek to know the truth. When you hear an opinion and believe it, you make an agreement and it becomes part of your belief system. The only thing that can break this agreement is to make a new one based on truth. Only the truth has the power to set you free.
Amen.
Holla if you hear me.
Gosh, don't take anything personally. Which is really funny because she's blowing a dandelion. I don't know if anybody wants to.
Tired of these cards.
It's hilarious. Refuse to eat emotional poison. Taking things personally makes you prey for predators, which is what I talked about, remember?
Yeah, you just talked about us not talking about the tea.
Well, not just that, but also the setting yourself up for self-love, right?
Yeah.
So you want to self-love, and then no predators will see you as somebody to be a victim. Because you're not a victim ever. They can hook your attention with one little opinion or one little pull of the string and feed you whatever poison they want. Refuse to eat poison.
Tighten your strings up.
Drink healthy water.
Oh my.
Eat gluten-free cupcakes. Do good things.
All this stuff.
It's worth it, damn it.
All right. Well, we had a quote, as we always do, and we have an answer for you.
Who said that?
All right. The magician behind the words is Samuel Ullman, who was born April 13th, 1840, lived through March 21st. He just celebrated a birthday, 1924. He was an American businessman, poet, humanitarian, and religious leader. He is best known today for his poem, Youth, which I'll read in a moment, which was a favorite of General Douglas MacArthur. The poem was on the wall of MacArthur's office in Tokyo when he became Supreme Allied Commander in Japan. In addition, MacArthur often quoted from the poem in his speeches, leading to it becoming better known in Japan than in the United States. So, the poem Youth reads, Youth is not a time of life. It is a state of mind. It is not a matter of rosy cheeks, red lips, and supple knees. It is a matter of the will, a quality of the imagination, of vigor of the emotions. It is the freshness of the deep springs of life.
It's springtime.
Youth means a temperamental predominance of courage over timidity, of the appetite. Eating positive things, for adventure over the love of ease. This often exists in a man of 60 more than a body of 20. Nobody grows old merely by a number of years. We grow old by deserting our ideals. Years may wrinkle the skin, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. Worry, fear, self-destructive bows to the heart and turns the spirit back to dust. Whether 60 or 17, There is in every human being's heart the lure of wonder, the unfailing childlike appetite of what's next, and the joy of the game of living. In the center of your heart and my heart, there is a wireless station. So long as it receives messages of beauty, hope, cheer, courage, and power from men and from the infinite, so long as you are young. When the aerials are down and your spirit is covered with snows of cynicism and the ice of pessimism, then you are grown old, even at 20. But as long as your aerials are up, your aerials, which are strings, to catch the waves of optimism, there is hope you may die young at 80.
Beautiful.
I freaking love this.
Power of Puppets and Parables. Right? I think we got our title.
It's so good. This is so good. I'm like tearing.
We had a title. We had a title, but I think now
it's a new title.
I think we have a new title. The Power of Puppets and Parables.
It's
right?
so good. And you guys, you get to be as youthful as you want to be. It doesn't matter what age you are. You get to tighten up those aerials into the infinite. And I have goosebumps over my whole body right now. And you get to experience life like we're doing it right now. It is so much fun. It has daisies and dandelions, and they're not weeds. They're beautiful flowers. They're gifts from the universe.
So
delicious
pie today.
Delicious pie.
Before we cut out, I want to give a shout out to Washington Peer Network.
Perfect.
So Thomas Jackson and the program manager Star have wanted me to shout out, and I want to shout out.
Yes, please.
This is a network, a digital network, Washington Peer Network. You can look it up. And it is a platform that encompasses all of the peers and the peer things that are happening around our state right now. So there are support groups. There's even a virtual support group called Chair Yoga. Like it's awesome, right? And so sign up. You can sign up as an organization, as a peer, meaning a certified peer counselor or provider in the field, or as a peer that is interested in support groups and what's happening. So sign up. It's really, really easy. They will get back to you. It's kind of like a peer Facebook, if you will. Don't want to compare it too much, but it's very, very similar. There's topics, there's discussions, there's profiles, there's groups that you can make, and it is a wonderful, wonderful piece of pie that has been recently added by our favorite peer, Thomas Jackson. And man, I'm glad to be a part of it. Part of my life experience has been my promotion into peer workforce development as a DOC training program manager. So I look forward to that next step in life. Also, we appreciate you. Yes. We love you. We thank you. All the listeners, all the subscribers, keep liking, keep subscribing. Pie Talk Podcast. We're here for you. We're here for ourselves. We're here for the community as a whole to pursue internal evolution. Because if you do better for yourself, then your relationships will do better. If our relationships are better, our community gets, and so on. You get the picture, right?
It's a beautiful
Let's pursue
thing.
Internal evolution as a whole.
Yeah.
For everybody and everything, right?
Keep your vibe high, you guys. It's the best way to do it. Tighten up your strings and make sure that you're connecting with the people that you want to positively connect with, and keep the ripple flowing.
Oh, and lastly, watch out for Dad's Move podcast with my interview with Joe.
Yes.
Coming sometime the end of this month. So check that out.